Well, joining us now is Lajst. He's the executive director of StandWithUs Brasil and Latin America. So first of all, what was the response to Israel Katz coming out and making this statement and, of course, reprimanding the Brazilian ambassador?
First of all, I think that is a common procedure for diplomatic situations to do this kind of talks and reprehensive method in order to show that Israel and the Jewish people didn't like what they said. I think that to move the meeting from the from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Holocaust Museum is they go out of script, but it's very interesting because this is a very, very, very bad thing that happened, and I think that Lula is not going to back up. I don't think that he will apologize because he's talking about to his base and he's listening to anti-Semitic rhetoric within his government. There are a lot of people there, they don't like Israel. They would love to see that Brazil will break diplomatic relations with Israel. I don't think that will happen. But this is if it's not the lowest, it is the second lowest point of the relationship between Brazil and Israel because of something that Brazilian president said. So the fall, he is to be blamed for that.
I mean, why do you think that Brazil and Israel wouldn't cut ties?
Because it's not interesting for both countries to cut ties. Brazil don't have a historic of cutting ties, not even with North Korea, of Iran, or of Russia, or other countries in different governments. They have, during the last government, Bolsonaro didn't cut ties with Venezuela, even though that he was against Maduro regime, because it's something about the people, it's something about having relations with every country. Brazil is proud to have relations with every single 193 countries in the world, but they could have they could move to bring back the ambassador and lowering the trade and other stuff like that. But I think that Israel is right to call the ambassador, to reprehensively him in a very strongest way. And I think that the Jewish community in Brazil is doing an amazing work in order to do that too.
Yeah, so I wanted to turn to that because Brazil has one of the largest Jewish communities outside of Israel in the world. And I'm interested to know, first of all, how the Jewish community is reacting to Lula's statements amid a very tense time worldwide for the Jewish diaspora.
Yeah, so the government of Brazil and Lula specifically is not the first. The first sentence is not the first time he said something that the Jewish community don't agree and Israel don't agree. I think that he said, since the beginning of the war, he said many times things that we don't like to hear. He has all the right to criticize Israel. He has all the right to call for ceasefire. I don't know what that means, but he has all the right to make his statements in international politics, but he cannot compare the Holocaust, specifically the Holocaust, which is the genocide of the Jews. Applying the crime that the Jews were victim as now the perpetrator. So I think that the Jewish community is well aware, and I think that also not just the Jewish community. If you enter Twitter, if you enter other social media, you see all the news, all the political analysis. They are saying that what happened will weak his government and his ability to be a legitimacy, to have legitimacy to criticize Israel when it needs, and to be a partner in the peace process, for example.
Interesting. You know, obviously Jews from around the world following the October 7th attacks and the onset of the Israel-Hamas war have been facing rising anti-Semitism. We've been seeing the statistics, the increase in hate crimes globally. I'm interested to understand how the Israel-Hamas war is being perceived specifically in Latin America, not just Brazil, but really the region as a whole, given the work that you do.
So it depends on the country. You have a different kind of anti-Semitism in Chile, for example, that you have BDS from left to right, because Chile has 10 million people, 10,000 Jews is a very small community, and you have 500,000 Palestinian descents from the 30s, mostly Christians, but they are very, very, very critical to Israel. Argentina, for example, you have more sympathy from the left, even from the right, but also from the left, because Argentina you had two terrorist attacks that that kill Argentinians. So they have the intellectuals and the academics. They are more aware about anti-Semitism in Argentina. Brazil is in the middle between Chile and Argentina. You have less anti-Semitism in Uruguay, and of course Bolivia and Venezuela out of questions. The government's very, very, very critical or anti-Israel. They don't even anti-Semitic in many times. And you have other countries that are less strong the criticism. Panama, Costa Rica, very friendly to Israel. Guatemala, very friendly to Israel. Nicaragua is in the other side, together with Venezuela and Bolivia. Brazil is very big. Brazil is a leading country in Latin America, very big by size, very big by population. So it's important what Brazil says, and other countries follow. And I think that as a president of a country that has more than 200 million people as a population and more than 100,000 Jews, I think it's a thing of responsibility. What happened yesterday was a lack of responsibility, anti-Semitic rhetoric, and I think that everyone needs to condemn that, Jews and not Jews.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us so much. This is Lajst, the Executive Director of Stand With Us Brazil and Latin America.